Welcome back to another episode of Sean Walker's Daily Word. Today's title is Choosing God's Word Over Your Own. I'll be reading from Genesis 3:11. And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? You have eaten from the tree which I've commanded you that you should not eat." Here's what I heard. From the beginning, women were never meant to be easily swayed. What they desire, they often pursue resentfully. We tend to blame Eve for the fall, but it was Adam who first heard God's word and chose not to obey. God always speaks to the head first, and he spoke to Adam. Yet instead of listening to God's command, Adam consulted his own desires. When there is no word of truth to hold on to in the home, outside voices begin to take root. What is it about foreign voices that can sway us into obeying them and yet disobey the clear word God has spoken? Men was designed to be strong, but in that moment, Adam became weak and followed Eve. He lost sight of how beautiful she truly was. He became distracted by his desires, by her allure, and by the deception of the serpent. This is the power of temptation. It can convince us to trust something that seems safe but is ultimately designed to destroy us. How foolish was Adam to fall for that? How foolish are we all when we choose our own will over God's? God tells us don't, yet we still choose to do it anyway. We then blame God and others for our consequences and the choices that we decided to make. Women are bold and fearless creatures. The right woman will take charge when a weak man cannot hold his position. As a man, we're called to provide and lead. So how's it that we had everything we needed before she came, but now we find ourselves slowing down? There was no hunger before, yet now we're willing to try anything that's not aligned with God just to please her. The curse on the ground came not because of Eve's action, but because Adam's failure to trust God. Not everything that glitters is gold, and just because something looks good doesn't mean that it is good. Eve did what she desired, and that opened up Adam's eyes to the idea that he could also act on his desires instead of following God's instructions. When we start to pursue our will instead of God's, bad things happen. In the end, the only word we should trust is God. We must hold fast to the truth no matter how tempting the outside voices may sound. Remember, you can't be tempted by something you don't like. Bad company corrupts good character. Eve, wanting to be curious, allowed for Adam to then explore his curiosity, disobeying God. If God has called you to lead, then lead. I hope this message encouraged somebody. Never choose the people's word over God's. When he speaks to you, you do exactly what he says regardless. Have a blessed day.